just gonna start and say one thing. I wanted name brand drinks so bad because Dr. Thunder tastes like crap. I've pretty much drank almost all of one of the 2 liter Coca-Colas you guys saw in the earlier video. So I've had one Dr. Thunder today. Um, I'm on my 5th bottle of water and almost a whole 2 liter Diet Coke. I don't know what's with me in this hydration stuff, but there's got to be a better way to deal with this than drinking all this water and liquid and stuff. And I talked to the doctor about that. But having all this hydration is making it where I'm not having the muscle cramps, so it is getting rid of that. So that's a good thing. But I want to talk about something. We're getting rid of physical media. Well, I don't know if you guys, and I don't have any footage of it or anybody has any footage of it, but the original Xbox had an Xbox arcade or Xbox like download store. The only remnants of that is if you buy like the Game of the Year version of some of the original Xbox games that has the DLC, and I think it's what you can get from the Insignia third-party service. But I want to talk about that. Okay, the digital store. Okay, because here's what I was able to. This is what I found on disc. Okay, this is the pack-in game for the 360, the first pack-in game they had, and it comes with these arcade games. Okay, these Xbox Live arcade games that you when they had servers you can play them online. You can still play these on these discs, but like the game I made most of my friends in was playing Uno. Okay, and that was the only game I had at the time for online play at first. I was my first online Xbox experience was playing Uno. My second was no correction. Well, it was between that. That was my first digital purchase game. That's what I'm trying to say. But my other favorite game was Battlefield Bad Company 1, which no longer had servers, and Call of Duty World at War, and the racing game Grid. Okay, that's that. And then here's another arcade classic disc, and this is what I was on it. These are the games on it. So these are others. Like I did play the poker some too. I did play the poker. It's weird how Xbox One and Series X has no card games whatsoever being played. Okay, and then there was this disc they released like as I don't they released these like arcade hits on disc. Trials HD, which is basically a modern version of a sight bike from the NES, I guess. And then Explosion Man, which is a platformer, and Limbo, which is a platformer. Okay, so those are all the ones by Microsoft. Okay, and I know I showed some of these, but I just want to kind of go over the list of how they used to do these. And they won't be doing these anymore. So whatever digital games we out there will have no archive like the original Xbox doesn't. Like, and then here's the Capcom collection. I think I showed you guys this the other day. But here's the Capcom one. And this one wasn't that hard to get. I mean, I'll tell you which ones are hard to get when I get to them. And then we have the Namco one, which has, this stuff on it. And now I have every version of Namco. And I was right. The other version, the Namco 50th anniversary for original Xbox, does have Dragon Spirit. And a fun fact about my history of Dragon Spirit, that was the first NES game, 8-bit Nintendo game I ever beat was Dragon Spirit. And here's the Midway Arcade Classics. Here's the Midway one. I showed you guys this the other day. But I'm doing these I just want to show you guys how many of these are out here. Okay, and then next we have the Konami one with the shoulder, which they have shown on the front. I just tried all these. They're alright, I guess. But the Russian attack's really hard, and so is the Contra. I don't know if the 30 Lives cheat works on these versions or not, but the track and field's pretty cool. I like that. And then here's number 2. Okay, and then like I said, I tried Frogger. I never played Frogger until this, so I tried Frogger. I got 3 of the frogs across, but I couldn't get the last 2, so that's that. And then here's, another Sega. I think I've showed this, I don't know how many times. I think I showed, like I said, here's a Sega Genesis collection, which is a bunch of Sega Genesis compilations. Okay. And then here's these were actually released on the arcade first, and they made a disc of them. And when I had a Dreamcast, all I had was Crazy Taxi out of this collection. But there's a reason I'm showing these. Okay, they're getting rid of physical media. They say it's to reduce costs and all that crap. But it's purely greed. They just want to have all the money in their pocket and not split up with CD manufacturers or anyone else. And then they could take your games away whenever they want, or your movies. Which I think is really scummy of them. As someone on a fixed income, I've never understood greed. Never. Because you can't take it with you. I mean, you can't. I mean, the money does not go to the afterlife with you. It stays where you left it, in the bank, or under the mattress, or where it is you stuffed it before you croaked. The fact that their greed is getting them sued by governments now because they're driving up the price of all the electronics and nobody can afford anything. In fact, I think what they are to do with what the government are to do, if they, with this lawsuit, is they are to tell them, look, either you make the stuff affordable, or you can all go to jail for monopoly, for antitrust laws, which is what they're charging them with, antitrust, because it makes these gaming devices and other machines a monopoly, and making pricing out a bunch of consumers because consumer protection laws do exist in the U.S. They're not as good as some places, but we do have them, and this is basically what this is. They're violating consumer rights laws. I don't know if that's going to get on printing disc again, but as someone that likes my disc, because and I only have, like I said, you guys saw how long it took me to download the Atari 50th anniversary on the Xbox One. I wished I could have found the disc for under $70, so I just went ahead and went with the download because it was on sale for $30 with the DLC instead of paying $80 for the disc because I can't afford $80. So I was stuck. But maybe I'll get lucky and find a disc down the road because that's what happened to all my other Xbox One games. I eventually found them on sale. Now there's one other game to these kind of collections that's out there. It's an app-based game, or was at the time, which there is. I stumbled across the disc last night, but it's out of my price range for now. Which was a Hasbro one with Hasbro like games in it, a Hasbro Family Game Night disc that was available on Xbox 360. But I'm not worried about that right now. But like I told you guys earlier, you saw my episode where I had the anxiety episode, and like I said, this whole housing thing's driving me nuts. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And because I went out and bought, ink, because I need ink for this printer over here, and then I bought some groceries this morning, I'm down to like 240, 230 or 240 in the bank. And yeah, I know the movies and the games weren't necessities. Okay, I know that. I know the Matchbox cars weren't that important. I don't know why I grabbed those. I don't even really collect Matchbox cars. I just don't know why I grabbed them. I just did. Two of them for $3. I don't know why. Same thing with Iron Man. I mean, at least the Iron Man figures make sense. I like war figures. I like military figures. I like military stuff. That makes sense. I don't know. Not really makes sense, but like it makes sense to me rushing the order to get to get these bottles of water that I so badly needed because they wouldn't let me do it an order for under $10. And these are coming in handy, like I said. I actually was able to walk to Publix this morning and get, like I said, the Pepsis and stuff I showed you and the two stupid Matchbox cars for some reason. Not Matchbox, Hot Wheels, whatever they are. Um, but I've also um, had an asthma attack and it wiped me out and I had to go lay down. Doing that walk. And I've had at least one whole row of the chocolate chip cookies. Sorry. And um, both the candy bars at this point, both the Reese's Cup candy bars, with a 2 for 1 or whatever. I have not ate real milk all day. I just I hadn't microwaved any of those Meals on Wheels. I hadn't made a peanut butter sandwich. That's all I've ate was one row of the cookies, the 2 candy bars. I've had a lot of beverages today. And I don't know what that presence was last night in the middle of the night. But like I said, I fought it before when I had cancer. It wasn't scarlet. It was something far more powerful. Whatever it is, I felt it before. And I think it's God itself I felt last night. I don't know what it was. But I felt it before when I felt like I was fighting a losing battle. It, it whispered in my ear and told me I was going to be cancer. But feeling that kind of presence again, it makes you feel like things are going to pan out. Because, like, I always look, said you're doing what the law wants you to do. You guys know what I'm doing. But they also know I need a ground floor because of my legs. But having all this hydration is helping with my legs some. It's my legs are still hurting, but I'm not like cramping up to the point where I can't move my muscles. Like I'm not having muscle withdrawal. My fist will do nothing but that. I mean, the hydration is helping reduce the muscle spasms. But I told you how much hydration I'm hitting just to try to keep that to go away. I mean, is the hip still hurting when I put weight on it? Yes. Is this still hurting if I play more than one match of Halo, like one 15-minute level of Halo Reach? Yeah. I don't know what to do about the whole of it, but the liquids are helping. They're making the muscles be less hard to move, so it is helping some. So I want to let this go, but I just want to show you guys that at least this version of Xbox Arcade for the 360, there's some remnants of it on disc. And the hardest ones to find out of those were the Konami ones because every time they get them in, they sell out. And it's only 3 games a disc. The rest of them pretty easy to find. But yeah, I am doing a little better because of all the hydration, so at least I'm not in complete misery, but I'm still worried. Even though, in the eyes of the law, I'm doing what I'm supposed to, I would just keep telling myself I'm dealing with another bully. But I meant what I said about feel like everyone hates me because I'm schizophrenic. I meant that part, guys. Because it's been a cycle of my life. Someone finds out I'm schizophrenic and they treat me like crap. My family, their spouses, all of my brothers' wives don't want me sharing a house with them because of my schizophrenia. My own family doesn't want nothing to do with me because of it. And I've never hurt anybody. I mean, I got in fights with my brother when we were kids, like, brothers do, but, like, I've never gone out of my way to intentionally try to harm another person because I'm schizophrenic. Most of the time when I got into it is because people were picking on me and bullying me, and I just defended myself. I'm not a bad person because I'm schizophrenic. I take my meds, but people keep judging me because other people with schizophrenia don't want to behave. And that's keeping my nerves on edge, keeping my asthma flared up, just keeping me feeling miserable. My own family's like, not our problem. Like I said, the government is looking into what's going on here, but it just feels like it sucks to have your whole life at 45 years old be nothing but isolation because you have a condition that everybody associates with being evil, even though I've never been evil. But because other people with schizophrenia want to go harm people on public transit or destroy public property because they don't want to take their medicine, they don't want to behave themselves, being lumped into that category when I've never done anything to harm anybody. I've been in handcuffs before. Not for criminal offense because they had to transport me, and the rule is when they transport you, if you're schizophrenic, they restrain you. Yeah, that's it. I've literally been in handcuffs from a sheriff's deputy because in this county I live in, they don't trust anybody with schizophrenia. If they are taking me to the hospital for my blood sugar or an asthma attack, I have to be handcuffed because the rest of the people with this condition in this community won't behave themselves. I get treated like a criminal because other mentally ill people in this very city won't quit being assholes. How's that fair? It's almost, that's why I find it very ironic that the person who's giving me crap that she's giving me is a black woman. You know, black people get profiled for being bad actors all the time. You figure somebody that is profiled by their looks would have more sympathy or have more understanding of what it's like to be labeled a monster when you hadn't done anything. Someone that would be understanding that being different would be a little more tolerant. But no, she's not. She's a jerk just like everyone else. She didn't even want to report that I paid my lease this month. I got a notification that said that she did not update my payment status. That's how much this woman hates me. Trying to make it like I'm not paying. I look at my bank statement and it went through. And I'm not saying this to be racist. I'm just saying if you get treated different for looking, if you next time you see someone who's different from you, if they got a different skin color, if they got a different sexuality, whatever, don't look at them as a monster right off the bat. Look at them as a person. If this person who's different from you goes over and gives $5 to Joe the hobo so he can get a cup of coffee in the cold, well then, their character is what should define a person, not their differences. Whether it's mental illness, skin color, sexual orientation, who you are as a person should matter, not your indifference to the person standing across from you from the aisle of Walmart. That's the one thing Star Trek's taught me. Is this someone's character is what should be the measure of who they are, not their difference to your restrictions. I mean, you never once heard Captain Kirk or Captain Picard call the non-human crew members the alien, or you never heard them call Data the robot. I mean, your character defines who you are, not your superficial details that make you different. Sorry I'm going on this rant, but my nerves are racked. I'm scared. Because every time it's always male versus female and crap like this, even though I have a clean record and crap, and she's making up crap, and she's hated me from day one, I'm just scared. Because they're on with a condition and a community that automatically labels you a monster because you have it, whether you've done anything or not. All because someone hates schizophrenics or mentally ill people. They treat me like crap, and who knows what lies that she went and told her boss. I hate people like that. Prejudice is a sickness, a disgusting sickness. And if you're an evolved human being, you look beyond prejudice. You don't look at it, you look above it. I mean, I know I made fun of Zoran the moron, because he is a moron. The things he's saying are free, they're not free. He ups taxes to pay for them. Use your brain. That's why he's a moron. Nothing is free. Everything costs something. Every one of these costs money on my disability check. This, money. Nothing is free. The only thing there is no bill for, as far as I'm aware of, is the oxygen we breathe on the planet. As far as I know, oxygen is the only thing that's free. Nothing else is.